Take a hip width stance with your toes pointing forward. And then it's helpful to have something to reference because this is going to be a keep your knees bent exercise, so your weight is over the arch of the foot the whole time while you fold at the hips. So if you're struggling to keep your knees where they are and your knees want to move back, just have something to keep in front where you're lightly touching. So first things first, just dip into your feet a little bit, let your knees go forward. Don't let your weight go forward to the toes, you're going to stay in the middle of the foot. And then just have something to lightly touch against your knees or shins. You're not pushing into it, it's just going to keep you in place so those shins don't move back when you're hinging at the hips. So when we hinge at the hips, we're going to try to get deep hip flexion to help open up the back tissue. So you might feel lengthening in the glutes or in the back of the hip. Keep length as you do this. So from your sits bones, those hard pelvic bones, whenever you sit on a hard surface that you feel, that's going to be one end of a long line. The other end of that line is the top of my head. So at no point are you going to be rounding or arching through your back. First breath that you're going to do, you're going to stay tall and sense that length and exhale. Blow out as much as you can. Feel those ribs deflating in your shirt. Keep that position, keep that length, keep your knees over your arches as you breathe in, and that'll set you up. The next exhale that you're going to do is the hinge. So you're going to exhale. Start to flex at your hips. Think about driving your sits bones up and back as deep as you can go. When you feel like you can't go anymore, you're going to stay here and breathe in, feeling that length. Then exhale again. You might find that it gives you more room to flex into the hips on the exhale. You're still keeping contact with whatever your knees are touching or your shins are touching, so your weight is in your arches the whole time. As you're here, make sure your shoulders are relaxed, they're falling to the floor, and that your head is not looking up, so your neck is not cranked or extended. It's just looking down, and that head is long. The very top of the skull is the other end of the line. Stay here to breathe in. And I'd say if you can do about 3 or 4 breaths here, you'll get a good amount of opening in the back of the hip. It's also going to feel like a lot of leg is working. Once you breathe in, the last exhale that you do is how you're going to stand up. So when you blow, you're going to think about pushing your hips forward, 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 not losing contact with your knees until you can't push them forward anymore. And that's the top of your rep there.